Most B2B ads don't actually work, not necessarily because the products are weak, but because most buyers register their ad as not worth reading. They scroll straight past. Often it's because they look like ads, and so they'll get treated like ads. Scroll past, ignored, forgotten. What does actually work is when something doesn't necessarily look like marketing or advertising at all. That's what this video is about. A specific ad format we use for boring B2B businesses that works in B2B because it's not necessarily trying to overly pushily sell to anyone or convince anyone. It usually exposes a problem or an amazing, interesting solution and lets the reader decide for themselves to get involved and look into it further. Once you see how this ad format works, some of the other best practice ad formats and guidelines you see might look pretty ineffective afterwards. And this specific B2B ad format gets clicked consistently because it does not look like marketing at all. In this video, I'm going to show you what that ad format actually is, why it works so well in B2B, the psychology around why buyers cannot ignore it, and then a free tool that you can use right now to generate ads like this for your own business. What this ad format is called is a B2B Exposé ad. It's an ad designed to be mistaken for a news article. It's turning your boring B2B business into scroll-stopping tabloid headlines. And it takes from that world of Daily Mail energy, LadBible, viral hype, but it's just translated for a B2B business and B2B buyers. Here's why tabloid headlines work in B2B marketing. And to be honest, why they work on humans at all. And that's it. B2B buyers at the end of the day are still humans and they react to the same thing as we all do. Just because they're a procurement manager for an IT software firm does not mean they aren't susceptible to FOMO, curiosity triggers, as anyone else scrolling the Daily Mail. The first reason is it's a very clear pattern interrupt. It stands out from the sea of people obviously selling and shilling their businesses and posting 5 top tips here and there, or why you should buy from me. It stops you from scrolling because it looks nothing like an ad. Another reason is the curiosity gap it creates. Headlines imply a scandal, a secret, or insider knowledge that the reader simply must know about and they can't resist themselves from clicking. A lot of these headlines are based around emotional triggers such as, fear of missing out, and also shame. They bypass the rational objections that people might have when seeing a typical B2B advertising campaign. These headlines are designed to hit that gut feeling before the brain can necessarily process it. The other effect people have when seeing B2B Exposé ad headlines is they generally feel like, oh God, is this written about us? Is this about us? When you throw in sensationalist or accusatory headlines, it forces that self-reflection on the reader and people click to make sure they're not the ones at risk or being exposed or being talked about. Effectively, your marketing and advertising campaigns are going to look and appear like editorial content, so it bypasses that marketing blindness and advertising blindness filter that people might have when they're scrolling through their timeline. This specifically works really well in B2B marketing because often the stakes are higher. When something goes wrong in a business, people get blamed and people don't want to lose their jobs or be blamed for things going wrong. That's why these headlines can work so well with senior decision makers who are in charge of senior decisions. Here's the format in action with the Exposé ad applied to different, separate, boring B2B industries. Often the Exposé ads and the headlines that are generated fall into 4 distinct categories. One is the big problem nobody admits. This one focuses around the shame and the fear that the damage is already done in an industry and everyone's avoiding the issue. The next one is the silent disaster, where it's all around panic, urgency and regret. And you're playing up the point that even though someone might be facing a tiny issue initially, the result if it's left unattended, unsolved, unfixed is catastrophic. The next category is the secrets of the elite, and this plays heavily upon fear of missing out, envy, and people having insider access that they might not have. The readers might feel left out and the winners are playing a different game completely to them. You basically want to play up that feeling that you know something that they don't. The last one is similar to the silent disaster, but it's a specific cost and consequence. This drills down into the financial loss and the individual numbers of the cost of inaction and what happens if you wait too long to fix those issues. That can be a specific mistake, a specific cost, and a real, very real outcome. Now, knowing these ad formats and why they work is one thing, but actually generating them can be quite difficult to get across that tabloid style energy. So, let me show you a free tool I built to make this super easy. This is the B2B Exposé Ad Generator. The idea is pretty simple. You just describe your business in 1 to 2 sentences. For example, we provide HR support for UK SMEs, and then click the button and see what happens. And instead of boring headlines and advertising concepts like improve your HR processes, you get these sorts of ideas that stand out on the timeline and can build a whole creative ad campaign around. Notice that none of these overly explain, they don't pitch and bore people. They expose problems that your buyer in your target market is probably facing or dreads the fact that they might face in the future. and plays up and positions the need for having you on board and working with you. The B2B Exposé Ad Generator generates a bunch of different headlines, all from those 4 different categories, and you can generate more headlines if you need to, or even generate ad images within that. The best way to use these is for paid social media ad campaigns. It helps stand out versus more generic, boring ads, and we've proved time and time again with clients that these B2B Exposé style ads outperform significantly bland, boring, plain image ads. It invokes that curiosity, it stands out on a social media feed, and the proof's in the pudding in terms of increased click-through rates, better performing cost per click, and overall improved cost per leads across the board when you implement these into your campaign. You can also use this for organic social media content. However, like the caveat there is, paid social media is you're paying to distribute these ads to the people that actually matter, the potential customers, potential buyers that can work with you, whilst organic social media, you're relying on the algorithm, your current follower base, etc. And the reality is, for boring niche B2B businesses, that one, if your organic content's getting seen by anyone, the likelihood is it probably isn't getting seen by the actual buyers and the people that pay you money. It's probably getting seen by your current colleagues, your ex-colleagues, and people trying to sell you stuff, and also your competitors. Other ways you can use the B2B Exposé Ad Generator is generate headlines for cold email subject lines. And the way you can take it further to improve performance even more is guiding to an actual advertorial style news feature landing page. When you're using paid ads that guides to an actual landing page that looks and feels like an advertorial, it makes it more congruent, it makes the user journey far more seamless, and that trust compounds. Basically, those advertorial style news articles are almost a Trojan horse where you're writing it like a third party, but you're pitching your product, your service as the solution, the knight in shining armour, the person that fixes the problems that the initial headline is talking about. Each of the ad headlines generated talk about a specific problem or a challenge that your target audience is facing. An ad format like this really cleverly bridges that gap between you talking about a problem and a challenge that your target audience are facing and you pitching the solution. An advertorial style is framing it as a journalistic article around you and your business being that secret amazing solution that's fixing those problems. Have a play around with the B2B Exposé Ad Generator, see what headlines it creates for your business, and there's a link in the description below and a link on screen now. Send me your best ones and see how different this feels from your usual marketing. Now, importantly, this is just one ad format. A powerful one, but it's not like the whole system's solved just because you can create some great scroll-stopping headlines. Great B2B ad performance still needs proper ad creatives, campaign structure, tracking, retargeting, and multiple concepts working together to grab that attention from customers and help nudge, persuade, and convert them later down the line. Exposé ads work best when they're part of a broader strategy designed to get more clicks more often from the right people. If you want help with the full picture, we're talking ad creatives, campaign tracking, retargeting, and other high-performing scroll-stopping ad concepts. There's another link below where you can book in a call with myself and we can talk around how you can do exactly that for your niche, boring B2B business. But look, like I say, play around with the B2B Exposé Ad Generator, because if your ads feel safe, they're probably invisible. But if they feel slightly uncomfortable, you're now on the right track.